Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Last Epoch. The good old developers at 11th Hour Games have officially bestowed upon us the crafting updates coming for 0.8.4. And I have now read this twice just to make sure I understand all the changes, and I have to say they are huge. I feel like they did not led on to just how many changes and upgrades we are going to be getting to the crafting system. And I have to say, I probably seem excited because I'm very excited. I'm very excited. This might be a little bit of a longer video because there is a lot to cover, but I will make sure I break it all down so you understand. Now, before we start, 30% of all of my viewers are subscribers, which means 70% are not. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. For 0.8.3, I made 16 build guides, and for 0.8.4, I am planning 20 build guides. Love Last Epoch. I'm hoping today is the day that I've earned your subscription. All right, right now I'm on the official Last Epoch website under General News. Let's see what's going on. Crafting changes coming to the Eternal Legends update 0.8.4. Again, there's so much to cover. I'm going to skip a lot of the reading points, and we're going to go into kind of what they're saying. Okay, so positives to carry forward. Direct crafting. You could find shards on the ground, so you're going to be able to find shards on the ground. You will have to click on them, and you will have to hit sort when they're in the stash. That is not changing. I know a lot of people are looking for a vacuum system. It's not coming yet. The element of randomness. So there will be randomness to the crafting system. You won't know exactly what the outcome's going to be as far as roll, and how much stability, or you'll see forging potential, is taken off. Most of the existing runes are staying, and there's a new glyph system. Negatives that are going away: irrelevant shards, magic versus rare items, and magic versus rare items is normally when you're crafting you want to use a blue item, where now you are going to want to use a rare. And then perception of luck in the RNG system. It is now no longer going to be a percentage, and I will show you that. Okay. So here is the meat and potatoes of it, all right? And I'm going to go pretty slow because it is a huge difference. In 0.8.4, we're changing the crafting to remove instability and fracture chance, and instead give all craftable items an amount of forging potential. Each craft uses a random amount of forging potential, normally 1 to 15. And when an item runs out of forging potential, it can no longer be crafted on. But until then, all crafts will be successful. So if you have an item and you have enough crafting potential or forging potential, and you do that tier 2 to tier 3, you know it's going to go through. No guessing, okay? And you could see this on these two item examples. You got a pick hammer. This obviously there's no affixes on it. You have 25 forging potential. And on these boots, you have 18 left because there is one craft on it. Now, I think what the randomness is going to be is, when you have a scale of 1 to 15, maybe you do 5 crafts and you've only used 5. Or maybe you've done 1 craft and you've already used 15, right? That's a pretty big range, but there's going to be some things that help you maintain your forging potential, okay? Several immediate advantages. It's going to be clearer expectations. It's going to soften the blow, and positive RNG. All right, the first thing we are going to cover is the Glyph of Hope. The Glyph of Hope. Now, what this is going to do is it modifies the outcome of the craft, granting it 25% chance to have no forging potential cost. So this is what you're going to use at the beginning of all your crafts to make sure that all those first tiers you're using as little forging potential as possible. Okay? So that's the idea there. Keep going down. Magic versus rare items. As mentioned above, the previous crafting system, it was often more optimal to start crafting from a magic item. There were several causes of this that we're planning to address in 0.8.4 crafting. There was no easy way to get rid of mods you didn't like. There was runes or removal, but that had a high risk of removing affixes that you did not want, and that made the item worth crafting on. Okay, skip reading this. Glyph of Chaos. This modifies the outcome of a craft when upgrading an affix. Now this I have to explain, right? So let's say you've got an item and 3 of 4 of the affixes are perfect. But that 4th affix, well, I'm not going to mess with it. It's a waste of time. You could click on that, percent to potion and use a Glyph of Chaos. And that will upgrade the tier, let's just say 1 to 2, but it'll no longer be a potion buff. It'll now be hybrid health. Or it might be resistance. Or it might be crit avoidance. This is going to raise the tier, just like a regular craft, but change the item or change the affix so that you have more options going up. So maybe it turns into fire resist. You don't need fire resist. Then it turns into cold resist. Then it turns into crit avoidance. Bam. You got the affix you were looking for. Totally random. Will require a little bit of luck, but the Glyph of Chaos is going to give us an option when we have that affix we do not want on the item. So again, that's going to make rare items much better because you can change those other affixes, and rare items are going to be better for another reason, which we will talk about in a little bit. Okay. Then we have a newcomer, the Glyph of Order. This modifies the outcome of a craft when upgrading an affix. Prevents the roll of an affix within its range changing when it's upgraded. So let's say you craft on an item and you get the highest roll of tier 3. Okay, so you get the highest roll of tier 3. When you use the Glyph of Order, when you modify that affix to tier 4, it will remain the top tier. So not only can you continue to use your forging potential to bring up all your affixes to tier 5, you can also maintain the roll of the tier. Whoa. And with the Glyph of Chaos, you can upgrade the affixes that suck. Crazy. Okay, going back to why rare items are now going to be better compared to what we used to do with standard magic items. Forging potential is inversed based upon quality of item, which means, and this is an example that they give us, a rare item starts, this one shows 27 forging potential. The magic item has 20, and the common item has 15. So not only are you going to have your affixes already on there, you're going to have more forging potential on that rare item. That doesn't mean you still can't make an amazing item from a magic item, but that you're going to have more opportunity and more potential on a rare. So, yeah, rares are going to be better. I have to change up my loot filter a little bit, okay? This is also crazy. On a related note, we also wanted to shield players from bad RNG when crafting on exalted items, as that process is inherently more risky due to exalted items being much less replaceable. Because of this, exalted item drops with particularly high forging potential. So now, keeping in line with common, magic, and rare, exalted items are going to have the highest possible forging potential, and it shows you, Vital Horn, Cowl of Purity. And this already has, look at all the affixes on it, and it still has 41 forging potential. So maybe this is why Mike, during his stream, was talking about, or whatever it was, like, hold on to your exalted items, right? Craft more on them and you can't screw them up as much. Maybe that makes sense now. Dude, it makes me just want to make my loot filter only show exalted items, and then the rest is fine. Okay. Runes and glyphs. So we talked about the Glyph of Chaos. Okay. That's going to be able to change any affix to the next tier, but a different affix. Changes to existing runes. Okay, this is kind of important. The Rune of Shattering and the Rune of Refinement are not changing. We like the roll it is. As discussed above, the Rune of Removal could lead to moments of frustration when removed the one affix that made the item exciting for you to replace. So what they're going to be doing is the Rune of Removal will stay, but if any runes that it removes, you get shards from it. Okay, does that make sense? The Rune of Removal. So let's say you go to remove an affix and it pulls off that tier 7 fire damage. It's going to make you feel a little better because at least it's going to give you some of those shards back. Again, it's supposed to soften the blow. So the rune of removal is still there. It's just going to give you back some of those shards. So if they're a rare shard, at least you're going to get some of that back. The rune of shaping will no longer favor moderate rolls, making it more excited to use and giving it more of a potential to create really powerful items. That is sweet. And then the rune of cleansing is being removed. And the reason why the rune of cleansing is being removed is because what you could do now is take a really good exalted, let's just say it has 45 forging potential, then you can cleanse it and start over with that double forging potential. And they do not want that. So the rune of cleansing, gone. Okay. Now we got to talk about the rune of discovery. Now, all the rune of cleansings that you have will be moving, or will be transferring over to the rune of discovery. And this is kind of like your entry level, maybe new player rune. This will take any item and fill any open affix slots with tier 1. So if you had a common item and you used a rune of discovery on it, it would now make it a rare item with 4 tier 1 affixes. So, you know, if you're starting a new character and you just have common or crap gear, maybe you get lucky with the rune of discovery. And we continue. Here we go. We have 3 chase crafting items. So again, I'm gonna try and do like a cliff notes at the end and go through everything again. 3 chase crafting items. You ready for this? The rune of ascendance. Look at it. It looks like it drops like a unique item. What this does is very simple. This will take the rune of ascendance, will take any item and turn it into a unique of the same base class. So if you have any ring and you use the rune of ascendance on it, it will turn it into a unique or set ring. Now you can't target it. So, you know, you can't use a certain helmet and then it'll turn into the unique of that helmet. No, it'll turn into any helmet. All right. But basically it's a way to create uniques and sets through a singular rune. And like, you know, the questions that I have that they don't answer is, can you get anything? Truly anything? Like, can this turn a ring into a very, very rare drop ring? Or is that very uncommon, right? So rune of ascendance. Going down, the rune of creation. This is my favorite. The rune of creation is my favorite update to the crafting system. Duplicates an item, but reduces the forging potential of both the original and the copy to 0. So let's say you make that amazing ring. Let's say you make that amazing one-handed weapon. Like tier 26, top rolls, it's perfect. You can use a rune of creation and you've got a second one for just the cost of this singular crafting item. And then you can't craft anymore on either of the items, but obviously the idea is that item is already done. Very, very cool. And then it doesn't say anything in here about like later on, right? So let's say you make that amazing helmet. You made an amazing helmet. Can you use a rune of creation on it and then use that duplicate one in the bazaar to sell as a way to like boost up your economy? I don't know. That is freaking amazing. Amazing. Duplicate any item that has forging potential. Wow. Last but not least, and I know a lot of people, this is going to be their fan favorite, the Glyph of Despair. Okay? Now, what the Glyph of Despair does is it gives you a chance to basically have a 5th affix. That is what it does. Has a chance to seal an affix. Instead of upgrading it, the sealed affix is moved to its own slot, leaving its old slot open for you to add a new affix. That's pretty cool too, right? That is pretty cool too. And right here is the example. Shows the armor, Primalist armor. And at the bottom, it has a sealed 125% increased minion health. Now, I guess my only question about this is, let's say this was a tier 1 increased minion health, and now it got sealed and put at the bottom, but I really, really want minion health. So then can I just put another? Like, can it have 2 affixes of the same on it? Here I'm going with this, right? If the main affix you want, you're trying to get to tier 5, and then it seals it at tier 2, well, now you might actually be mad because you need that affix to be tier 5. So that's my only question, but still really cool, because now your rare item, again, you can have perfect roll tier 5s and potentially a 5th roll, and you could duplicate it. That's freaking crazy. They are updating the crafting outcome of the UI. So this is the example here. It no longer gives you a percentage. So what this is showing you is forging potential 19. And then right here, this upgrade will cost 1 to 20 forging potential. And then it says 19 remaining, right? So that's the idea of like, somehow this rolled and it dropped the 20. I'm guessing the item would be fractured or something like that, or the item could no longer be crafted on. But on here at the bottom, crafting outcome, 11% increased melee attack speed and -2 forging potential. So, dude, 1 to 20 and it only dropped -2. That is a pretty damn good craft. But again, more information, better information, gets away from the percentage where the 90% chance of success feels like the 10, right? I mean, obviously way better. And that is the update. Holy smokes. So much information. So much. So let's go through it one more time. One more time. No longer instability. We're moving to forging potential. As long as there is 1 forging potential on the item, you can still craft on it. The Glyph of Hope is now here to try and minimize your forging potential going down. You have a 1 in 4 chance. The Glyph of Chaos allows you to change an affix you don't like while upgrading it. Totally random, but gives you an opportunity to change that crappy affix. The Glyph of Order is when you are upgrading the item, you will keep its roll as you upgrade it. That is how you have a chance of making perfect tier 5s. It is now inversed, so you want to craft on rares instead of magic or commons because you're going to have more forging potential. You're going to have the most forging potential on exalted. Existing runes, Rune of Shattering and Rune of Refinement, are not changing. The Rune of Removal will now give you affixes back on whatever, or shards back on whatever affix you remove. The Rune of Discovery will add tier 1 to any open slots available on any item. There's now 3 chase crafting items. The Rune of Ascendancy, which will give you a unique item of the base type. The Rune of Creation, which will duplicate an item, and then they can no longer be crafted on. And the Glyph of Despair, which can give you a chance at a 5th affix. And they have changed the crafting UI. That is what we are getting for 084 coming December 10th. How does that feel? Is it overwhelming? Is there something I missed? Is it, man, I can't even wrap my head around all these changes? I want to know your opinion. Let me know in the comment section below. I can tell you that it is going to take some time to get used to and to figure the right way to craft, because it seems like it is going to be different, but I am overjoyed with what I read so far. I can see the future, and the future is bright. I'm sure you've heard by now that I have officially started a Twitch, streaming on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, having so much fun with the ARPG community. I literally made 15 build guides for 083, and I plan on making 20 for 084. First link in the description if you'd like to go there and support me on Twitch, where a lot of those build guides we made together as a community. you haven't had a chance to join the official Action RPG Discord, please do so. We're now over 1,200 members, great conversations every day. The idea is to create a gaming community that could jump from game to game together, so you never start the server alone. Link for that Discord is also in the description. I hope you all enjoyed this Last Epoch crafting update video. Hopefully you're entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.